This episode could have been titled Truth, Lies, and Jealousy. We're going to review some of the Epstein updates. Kash Patel, FBI's own, AG Pam Bondi. Ian Carroll goes on Joe Rogan, and there's a shitstorm about that. Jeremy Boring taking on the Tate brothers. Whitlock, Ian Carroll, and we've got your mailbag all coming up right now.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Oh boy, we're here. Okay, I'm trying to do a few things here. I'm trying to make sure some of these chats get all integrated because it's been a problem. They're almost there. Anyway, hope everyone's doing fine. Tyler Yonke, I saw Alan Mosley in there. I'll let you guys kind of filter around and come in and join us. I think we got it going on. I think we're going to be able to do this. Hopefully. All right. Chat's ready to go, I think. Once again, we got Alan Mosley is the only one that's really said, neat. That's what he said. I did a show this morning, and it was mostly me just listening to the, what was it called? Supreme Court. Hope everything's going on. It looks like we're broadcasting everywhere. So I think it's good. Rumble's there. X. I think we're live streaming there as well. Okay, we're up on YouTube. That looks good. Okay. Well, this is Tyler Yonke. This is LPR. This is not the way I wanted to start everything right now, but I think it's. And damn it, it's this fucking StreamYard. It's not oral arguments from the Supreme Court. Oh wait, that's the one from earlier. I'm freaking out. Okay, hang on. Just hang with me, people. Sometimes this happens. Going live. There we are. Okay, so we'll pop this chat out as well. Okay, well, anyway, Tyler Yonke, I told you what we're going to be working on, so we will get to it. Several good things to talk about. I thought my show last week. Hey, that's me. Yes, that is you. I thought the show last week was good. We really went over some issues of great importance, which was the reaction to the Epstein files and all that, right? Did any of that get resolved? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you know, I had a few things, which is the right is so funny. All right, they get these grifters out there, and remember, the grifters were all about they were going to be the new. I think I have another light here. They were the new media. They were the alternate media, and they were in place to do whatever. And then they got played enormously, big time played. So that was embarrassing for everybody. And it's what it was, but whatever. So I thought that was interesting, and just to kind of keep everything in perspective about who these people are. Don't necessarily just buy what they have. And I thought that's what was interesting about Ian Carroll going on Joe Rogan, because he didn't interest me too much. I made fun of him. I did and I put it out as a short. I made fun of him last week and did a little thing, but I don't dislike the guy. I mean, he could be a Fed. He might not be a Fed. I mean, there's some good and there's some bad necessarily kind of with it, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily down on him, but one thing I do like about him is he went on Rogan, and there was some issues he definitely knows stuff about, and stuff he doesn't. he does the right thing. And he kept telling people, he's like, I'm kind of a generalist. I do investigations. I rely on a lot of other people's resources, and I just kind of re-put it out there. Okay, maybe that's a limited hangout. Maybe it's not. Alan says, I messaged you about this just a bit ago. I saw I missed a message from September. Yes, you did. What did you message me about? Okay, maybe I'm going to go. National, smile and it's happy. Thank you for coming in. National security would not be shared, Pam Bondi. Why is national security involved in... Absolutely. We're going to walk about through there. And Alan says, whoops. No big deal. I resolved everything since then, Alan. So don't fret. Okay. So I think we're going to start out here. I am at least going to, let me see. This chat isn't working either. Okay. We're still working on some things. Okay. So we'll start out with Kash Patel. Kash Patel said he's, what Kash Patel has said about releasing Diddy List, Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. So look, this is, I went back over Kash Patel's stuff because my interpretation, I thought he had said he had seen it all and now he's going to release it, or, it's going to, and I'm like, okay, well, wait, if you've seen it all, why is Pam Bondi having a hard time getting it? Okay. So that's one thing. And then it's like, okay, maybe he didn't see it all. Maybe he hasn't seen all of this, but he saw all of something else. So his pick, Donald Trump's pick for FBI Director Kash Patel has advocated for the Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs list to be released. And he has said that the American public deserves to know all of the names on them. I believe not just the names, but everything. And that's in there. And Smile and Be Happy says exactly the whole point, which is you don't see this with a bunch of other cases that we're talking about. The serial killer here and there. It's like, some lady that goes and kills, Karen Reed, all these things. It's like, we're finding everything. Why is his subject to national security? Interesting. Because and this is what a problem I had with Trump when he went on Rogan. He's like, the JFK stuff, and some of it because there's some people that are bad people, but they're still around. And I'm like, wait, if they committed crimes, then why are you, because you're still part of this problem. Okay. As Dave Smith would say. So we'll keep going on here. The public deserves to know their names. Has spoken out against what he and Trump call the deep state. Yep. To head the FBI on Sunday. Many people, this is an older article, by the way, including Musk running the advisory Doge, have posted Patel's previous calls for Epstein and Diddy lists to be made public. Patel has said he wants to expose what he sees as corruption of the deep state and restore faith and remember, the most transparent administration in history, right? Isn't that what all those losers were saying last week and whatnot? The X account called has Kash Patel released the Epstein list, ? Has been set up solely for the purpose of updating people on whether Patel has updated the Epstein list. Newsweek contacted Trump's transition team via email for comment. It has also contacted Patel's organization, Fight with Cash, via email for comment on behalf of him. So anyway, this is what is the Diddy list? So there's that. Flight logs. I want to see what else they say that he has said. Here you go. To me, when you mentioned what you mentioned is the most important part, restoring trust in our agencies and departments, Patel said. And the way to do that isn't to treat them like a piñata, hoping for something good to pop out. The way to do it is by giving the American people the truth. And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in here and he might just give them the Epstein list, the Diddy list, and everything that they're terrified of being exposed. So here he goes. Trump's Department of Defense, Patel, reveals potential bombshell declassification operation in the second term. He's going to come in here and maybe give them the Epstein list. Okay, should we play this?
And then when we go back to DOJ and FBI, we still don't have all the list, all the FISAs, all of the stuff they did to 275,000 Americans illegally in 1 year. Put that out there. I'm not saying put in the recipe on how to do it. We can keep the hood on the engine, but we can show the American people how they violated our rights. And to me, what you said is the most important, restoring trust in our agencies and departments. That the way to do that is not to get a piñata and just punch them mercilessly and hoping for some bubble gum to pop out. The way to do that is to literally give the American people the truth. And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in there and maybe give him the Epstein list and maybe give him the P. Diddy list. He's going to come up there and maybe do all these things, and they are terrified.
Yeah, I believe that's part of the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was crying last night on his program. But also, I believe that this is something that the American public desperately want. And most importantly, this is how you restore honor and how you restore trust. Now, many may not know, some will, that you are personally responsible for the research on the Russiagate collusion. Everything we know about Russiagate, and we know maybe like less than half of what really happened with Russiagate, Kash Patel is the one who found it out with Devin Nunes. So, Kash, you have an excellent pedigree in rooting out the truth. Will we get the full Diddy list? Will we get Epstein? Will we get JFK? Will we get the rest of what happened with Russia collusion?
That's what I want. That's what I want as me as an American citizen. That's what I want in terms of achieving that restoration of respect for government in D.C. that's been gone for like 50, 60 years, right? I had said on the campaign trail when I was on the Team Trump bus tour or surrogate somewhere, I said, America has a chance to retire the dynastic families that have rained down corruption in Washington, D.C. on November 5th. You could have retired the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Clintons, and the Obamas. And you know what, Benny?
I agree.
For the first time, I get to say they did. And part of that mandate that they delivered to Donald Trump is simply they want the truth.
Yes.
And I don't know why it has been, well, I do know why, but I believe and hope President Trump is going to go in there and just be a vehicle, a conveyor belt for the truth and just put it out nonstop. Yes. Agriculture department, education, labor, all of it, everywhere. And Congress is going to play such a critical role in these oversight investigations. Just think of what you can accomplish if you have a director or a secretary who actually works with the Republican chairman or chairwoman on oversight. It's incredible, not just for corruption revelation purposes.
Okay, well, we'll see if that actually happens, because so far that document dump didn't really come to pass. Kash Patel on why Congress is blocking the release of the Epstein list.
It's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out. But then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if you release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress.
Okay, so at this point, he's in charge of the FBI. Pam Bondi is in charge of the DOJ. And we're not getting the documents out. So, blah, blah. I mean, I'm a little confused at this point as to what's going on. But there you go. So that's a little bit of the Kash Patel part. But there's more. There's more to the Kash Patel part, because this is what cracks me up about people like him, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, any of these people, right? They're very bombastic like that during the campaign. And it's what you do to get your Michael Knowles, your Ben Shapiro's, all these people to rally their people. And then everybody's worked up. Your Benny, John, whatever that guy's name is. Let's go back here. What is his name? Benny Johnson. Yeah. You get them all worked up, and then they make money, and then you get elected, or you don't get elected. Dan Bon Jovi. Yeah, that's what I like the best. Sorry about that. So, the rhetoric, and then you get thrown into, and I don't know if Kash Patel ever thought this was going to happen. That one, Trump would win. Well, probably hoped at it, and then two, that he's going to get selected for the head of the FBI, and then three, that he's actually going to get confirmed Okay, I don't know if is this live? Yes, it is. So I don't know if he expected that to happen, because he makes comments like this, and this is what stuff that is out there. And are you gonna just let it go?
DOJ's investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. He's called for radical changes to the FBI.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
Okay. He would shut down the Hoover building on day one. Have we heard anything like that? I mean, this come on. You're not going to do this. So it makes me also wonder, Epstein list, all these other things that you've said. I mean, look at his eyes. He's very serious here. He's very serious.
And reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
And wrote in his...
Okay, I don't... I mean, is he maybe that was all, just jokes and stuff. I'm supposed to have this. But how about this one? And this one is not a pretty one to watch. But anyway, here he is on Glenn Beck recently.
The CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
The entire JFK file. Now, has he read the entire Epstein file? I don't know, but let's keep going.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw. Should the Kennedy stuff be released?
Yes.
Is there anything there that is like, is anybody alive that...
The problem is, the things that we can't release have nothing to do with the questions you guys are asking. That's about as far as I can go on it. But like the answers you guys want, you pretty much have them. There's very minimal stuff that can't be seen for things that you wouldn't even think are related to that.
Why can't we release them?
And you're thinking temporally, like, did it stop back then? Right? The way intelligence works is you're always developing it. Where did I get that? Where did that go? Oh, hey, I found that guy 5 years ago. Let's go talk to him. Where does that get us? It's a little bit bigger of a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, it's the same. Look, so the 7 pages of the 9/11 report, yes, overnight, that needs to come out.
That needs to come out. Have we heard about that?
I'm telling you, that's got to go.
Okay.
And there will be some people that are pissed off.
I never.
Okay. I'm starting to just believe that he's full of shit. Okay. So let's go up here. What is this live? Yo. Why is this not letting me click here? Yo. What are you talking about today? We're talking about a few things. A bunch of mega grifters never truly rocked the boat. Yeah. Alan says, I think a lot of these people thought those things when they said them, but when you had to square it with Israel's involvement, they can't accept it. We're going to talk about anti-Semitism today as well. Trump is a deal maker, including behind the scenes with Mossad. Yeah, that's right, Adam. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So that's the Kash Patel angle. Now, remember last week or so we had Pam Bondi. She came on, and I thought maybe let's see if we can get just a recap, kind of the Pam Bondi. I didn't put these in the order I wanted them. Maybe we'll just do a little recap of kind of the Pam Bondi situation. This is Jimmy Dore giving us a recap.
Just on February 22nd, Pam Bondi said that she's going to reveal Jeffrey Epstein's client list is sitting on my desk to review. That's what she said. That was on February 22nd, 2025, just a couple of days ago. By the way, they call it a client list. Is it really fair to call it a client list when there's only one client and that client is named Israel? You mean the blackmail list? And then here we are, February 27th, Jeffrey Epstein contact list, AG Pam Bondi releases highly anticipated Department of Justice documents. Breaking, instead of releasing all the Epstein files to the public at once, the Trump White House selectively handed phase 1 to a curated group of right-wing friendly influencers, a terrible idea that the Trump administration should be mocked for relentlessly. To hand out redacted files, what they should have done was made the Epstein, whatever they were releasing, make it available at the Department of Justice website as a PDF so everybody can download it.
Okay, now there is rumor out there, or like speculation, that the Trump administration they weren't in cahoots with this. Pam Bondi kind of went and did this herself. Okay, whatever. She's in charge, and that's what cracks me up about a lot of the tweets and stuff we saw last week, which is, Oh, she's really gonna get to the bottom of this now. Okay, well, remember we had that's kind of what we were listening about here. Head of New York's FBI office, James Dennehy, forced to resign in Trump administration shakeup, and everyone was saying it was due to the fact that he was the one in charge of all those documents that didn't get released. Could be, but when you read this argument, or this article, it's really about the fact that he at one point wrote back. He said, told his colleagues in office, professional who always, that's something else. But it had to do with him not about dig in. Yeah, there you go. Denny, a high profile battle with Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove last month, penning a defiant email to staffers, urging them to, quote, dig in, unquote, after officials tasked with investigating January 6 riots at the U.S. Capitol. Today, we find ourselves in the middle of our own a battle of our own, as good people are being walked out of the FBI and others are being targeted because of their jobs in accordance with the law and the FBI policy. The email, and so he wrote this email leaving. I've been told many times in my life, when you find yourself in a hole, sometimes it's best to quit digging. Screw that. I will never stop defending this joint. I will just do it willingly and proudly from outside the wire. His resignation letter to staff concluded. Okay, so he's a lefty. I don't know if it's due to specifically the issue, specifically about the Epstein files. That to me doesn't sound right. Okay, and the only reason is because Pam Bondi. How do I put this? I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with her at all. Scott comes over. He says, King Tyler, I hope you had a good Friday. I'm having a good Friday. Did a good job of work. I did a little stream this morning, got in there early, read some Supreme Court stuff, or we did some transit. I did some more work, did my billing, and then came home, hung out with the wife a little bit. Hanging out with you guys here as always on a Friday, and then we'll keep moving along. Okay, so let's recap some Pam Bondi highlights here. Okay, this is a Pam Bondi. This is before. This is like I think it was I don't know. It was Trump was in office the first time, and this was
and
this
we
is
are
her
going
statement.
to bring in something called the Gun Violence Restraining Order. So if someone is civilly committed typically you can hold them for up to 72 hours, but people are getting out within 24 hours, the majority of them. So what we want to do is let law enforcement come in and take the guns.
Good.
They're a danger to themselves
Which you can't
or
do
others.
right now.
Well, because without being adjudicated. So because they're a danger to themselves.
You want them to take the guns and
when they are
not go
committed.
through 6 months of legal trials and everything
Exactly,
else,
but
which is
we also have to give the mentally ill the due process in which they
Oh, there you
deserve, President. So what we're doing is they're going to be able to take the guns when they're taken into custody or into the hospital, and then when they're released within 24 hours or 72 hours later, typically it's 24 hours, but law enforcement will have 72 hours to determine whether they should give those guns back or they can go to a judge and say, Your Honor, please keep these guns. We feel this person is still a danger to himself or others, whether
So
they're
this
in or
would
out
not
of
have
custody.
worked the way it's currently constituted. This would not have worked with Cruz as it's currently constituted.
As it's currently written.
So you're going to make changes?
We're going to make changes.
Okay, so this bitch, let me just say that. So the gun violence restraining orders, okay, maybe that's one aspect that she was pushing for at the time is you've been committed, we're going to take your gun away. Okay, I get it. But that's not what the gun violence domestic restraining or gun violence restraining orders, which then have a CLETS, it's a nationwide system you get put into. You can't have your guns. You have to turn them into an FFL. You've got to turn them in or to the sheriff, but you can't have them. And I had a cop. Okay, I have a client, family law client, police officer. He's pretty high up there. Not just your street cop. He's, internal affairs type of stuff. And the crazy wife files a restraining order against him with just crazy accusations. And it's super easy. It's ex parte. It's just on her pleadings alone and a bunch of lies. And the court granted it to her. So he's a cop. He's got to turn in his gun. He's literally and so he's desk duty at this point. And he had to turn in his guns. We did a trial and we won. It was easy, right? Because she was just so full of shit. It was easy. We won. But do you know how long it took him to still get his guns back? A long time. It's it's not. And by the way, by the time we got to court, it had been like over 6 months. So, it's 72 hours. No, that's not how it, okay. But then they're always going to bring this one person, this one instance up. So this lady, she's not really what I would say is on our side in the first place. Okay. So that's one aspect of it. Let's see what else she does about some other issues. I don't know, like some important issues like free speech.
Democrats like Alan Dershowitz have sounded the alarm over the growing virulent strain of Jew haters in the Democrat Party. It appears their agents in the unfair press are carrying that water. It is dangerous, is it?
I mean, first of all, Alan Dershowitz on the Epstein list. I kept my underwear on. That guy, and we're going to be concerned about what he says is Jew hate. Now, we've been over this. I've read the International Holocaust Remembrance Association or whatever it is, their working definition of what anti-Semitism is. And so you can easily, by the way, you could just say, I don't think we should send money to Israel. And they would say, you're a Jew hater. Now they have, this is the luck that they have, which is to be a voting citizen, you have to say that Israel is a Jewish-centric nation or something like that. And I will get to it because at some point I'm going to do a legal roundup of all the laws for Israel. So you have to basically declare that that's exactly what it is. You could be a Muslim, but you have to understand that it's a Jewish nation. So I guess hatred, if you I hate Israel, you're like, oh, well, you hate Jews because it's, so they wrap it in there. They intentionally wrap themselves in the cloth of identity politics, specifically so they shield themselves. It's like Lance Armstrong. He was taking drugs. He was a doper cyclist, one of the best in the ever at the time, or whatever. I don't know how much drugs were related, a lot. But when they would say these things to him, he would talk about his cancer situation, that he had cancer. I wouldn't do that to my body. I have this cancer foundation. So they called it a cancer shield, which is, how dare you? How dare you say something about me? Even the little boy that had cancer and he was Trump called him out and the Democrats didn't cheer because they're a piece of shit. But also it's like, okay, we don't have to cheer about everything. Okay, so they didn't pull. It's political. I mean, it's political for the fact that they didn't cheer, and it's also political that Trump brought him there. Okay, let's just all stop this. Okay, let's keep going here.
Yeah, it's very dangerous, Chris. It's extremely dangerous. And, you look around, the thing that's really the most troubling to me, these students in universities in our country, whether they're here as Americans or if they're here on student visas, and they're out there.
No, let's just say Americans. Let's just start, because who cares about those other ones? Let's just be worried about Americans.
They're saying, I support Hamas. You and I have seen that on all of these television.
First of all, I don't know that they're saying I support Hamas. Okay, that to me, when they say we don't support Israel, her mind says they support Hamas. And this is an attorney. This is the highest attorney in the land, and she should know how to parse words. I'm not always so great, but she should.
Frankly, they need to be taken out of our country, or the FBI needs to be interviewing them right away when they're saying, I support Hamas, I am Hamas. That's not saying I support all these poor Palestinians who are trapped in Gaza. That's not what they're saying. So I think their student visas need to be revoked. I think we need to reinstate President Trump's travel
I would also say if you say I support the IDF, you're kind of
ban immediately. There's a lot of things that can be done to stop this. But yeah, the anti-Semitism that is rampant.
Okay, now anti-Semitism. She's immediately going anti-Semitism from pro-Hamas. So I kind of get it on the terms of national defense. If you're saying, hey, I'm pro ISIS, okay, there might be an issue because there's been some reported malfeasance on ISIS's part. But if you're saying I'm pro Hamas, okay, I get it. But now she just immediately just washes right into anti-Semitism is the same thing as pro Hamas, which bitch, that's not how it works.
Country now, and it's truly, truly heartbreaking to see what's happening to all of our Jewish friends in this country by really just, I think, a lot of ignorant kids and students and people who don't understand that Hamas equals terrorism, even worse, at its worst.
Wait, what's worse than terrorism? What's I don't understand. What's okay? We'll keep going on the Pam Bondi escapade here, which is, look at this. Pam Bondi has opened an investigation to anti-Semitism at University of California. Now, it might be the issue. Let's take a look here. Let's go to this website. This is The Hill. DOJ investigating anti-Semitism claims at the University of California. According to the press, now this is going to be Title IX shit here, or this Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, but I'm probably Title IX for the schools. Probe whether a university engaged in a pattern of practice of discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, blah, blah, blah. Worker led in an anti-Semitic hostile work environment to exist. Work environment. Okay, following the Hamas attack against Israel, there has been an outbreak of anti-Semitic incidences at leading institutions of higher education in America. Leading at my alma mater in UCLA campus of UC, Leo Terrell, a top member of the Federal Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism in Senior Counsel to Assistant Attorney. They have a this is great. The impact upon UC students has been the subject of considerable media attention and multiple federal investigations. Attorney General Pam Bondi added to that her department will always defend Jewish Americans, protect civil rights, and can't you just say we'll protect Americans? I mean, this is ridiculous. Eradicate institutional anti-Semitism in our nation's universities. Now, I would say, I believe that they are their definition of anti-Semitism is wonky and not able to sustain legal scrutiny. Okay, so that's the problem that they're going to have. We want to be clear. University of California is unwavering in its commitment to combating anti-Semitism and protecting everyone's civil rights. We continue to take the specific steps to foster an environment free of harassment and discrimination for everyone's in the university community. This statement continued. Let's see what else Pam. Anyway, she's investigating the universities for anti-Semitism because, and so when you see those comments and you see that reaction there and what she said, it makes you wonder about the Epstein list and if she is really doing what she can to do it. Okay, let's go a little bit more here. This week. This is really what she's working on.
Because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. We're here.
Okay, so I mean, I don't really know a lot about that story, but it looks like to me that's more political, going after your political rivals. Okay, fine. Let's go to, I'm just continuing on, hitting the hits here. Here's Pam Bondi.
They can do it. You've got one district judge thinking in Rhode Island, thinking he can control the money for the entire country. I mean, they think they think they control everything, and they don't. And that's why we are going after them every step of the way. The Justice Department will fight back, and we will win. We will defend EPA. We will defend the Secretary of Treasury. We will defend all of this money, and it's the President of the United States' decision who to hire, who to fire, where money goes, not these career bureaucrats. So do it.
Okay, so some of that is one. I just wanted to play that one because I don't think she just really does herself a service of sounding smart. She's not impressive to me. Okay, let's see what we have here. Congrats, said Hamilton. I don't know if that's right. Dershowitz kept his underwear on. Yes, that's what I said. Why did they keep hating us for all the things we do? Thank you. Hamilton says Israel received billions annually for 7 decades, and it's the size of New Jersey, a wealthy country. Where's all the money going? Is it a fact? Netanyahu supported Hamas publicly and financially for years. He knew. Thank you for this. This is a great comment. He knew of the impending attack for a year. He did nothing to help over 12 hours. Okay, so without the response, yes, there's obvious proof, and Dave Smith has documented, gone through this whole thing, and the Grave Zone as well. Max Blumenthal of the support that Netanyahu gave specifically to Hamas. One, you prop them up. It's easier to control. They said they can control the height of the flame. And then they look wonky because they suddenly have this power because they've got money from Israel. So yes, when she's talking about supporting Hamas, she's really talking about Israel there. And maybe you should do something about them, Pam Bondi. This week's episode got banned on Facebook for my Pam Bondi joke. It was actually kind of a Jew joke. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Alan Mosley. I didn't know that you were on Facebook. Sorry, my condolences to you for being on Facebook. Yeah. So anyway, let's keep going at here. Pam Bondi, continuing on. We talked about we already did that one. Okay, so now we're getting into a little bit more of the recent stuff. The Pam Bondi just announced a truckload of documents were received, and the FBI is reviewing them ahead of future releases.
And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m. Thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here.
I'm sorry, it does make you wonder. You know, the bureaucracy is a thing, right? And it could be that the Southern District in New York, since they ended up supposedly handing them over, maybe they didn't know. I don't know this whole process, but you can imagine with a big corrupt bureaucratic government that when she said, I have all the documents, maybe they weren't there. I don't know why the Southern District had them. I don't know why the federal government has them. They shouldn't, right? I guess, was he in federal prison? No, I thought that he was just in New York State prison. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at that. But the point is that maybe she didn't look hard enough. I don't know. Let's say it is a Southern District. Everybody knows that that's where he's in. That's where the prosecution, maybe that's where the case was. Did she go there and ask and say, hey, you've got to give me the documents? I don't know. I'm just saying. Nothing about her reeks bright, exudes smartness, the way she talks on camera. I'm not Attorney General. So if you're saying, hey, Tyler, you know better. I'm not Attorney General. I just do. I'm really good at what I do. My family law stuff, cycling, I'm really good at understanding and talking about that. And I do this little thing here we got going on, but sometimes I fuck up. I don't always do the best. But I'm not Attorney General, and I'm not making claims that I'm going to shut down the FBI building on day one. I'm not making claims that I'm going to, fire these people and then you don't. Okay, so, yeah.
Here it's a game changer, of course. And Cash is going to, Director Patel, is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. There were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York. Yeah. So based on that, I gave them the deadline.
It didn't sound like it was too hidden.
Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Cash.
Okay, that's first of all, she said 1,000 pages. That's not a truckload, bitch. That fit in my car. I have a Honda Civic. Okay, it's a sport. It's a nice one. It's brand new. But my point is, 1,000 pages isn't a lot. Okay.
Just going to get me and himself really a detailed report as to why.
I mean, you forget the paper, and it's like 500, a ream of 500 or 200. It's just like this. It's not a ton of paper. You don't need a truck to do that.
All these documents and evidence had been withheld, and we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein, because there are a lot.
And we'll talk about that. Let's see if
a lot of victims.
Well, you had identified in phase one over 254.
There was nothing.
Okay. Now, is that the only thing that would be redacted? Will everything else be made public that you get in your possession?
Yeah, the FBI hasn't had, obviously, they haven't looked at the thousands of pages of documents that they've just received Friday.
Yeah.
But Cash has a team going through them, and it's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know. The Biden administration sat on these documents. No one did anything with them. And why were they sitting in the Southern District of New York? I want a full report on that. You know, sadly, these people don't believe in transparency, but I think more, unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't believe in honesty. And it's a new day, it's a new administration, and everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
And that goes the same with the JFK files,
JFK,
RFK files,
Martin
MLK.
Luther King. Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. What are the things that, and maybe some people don't understand.
9/11. We talked about that with Kash Patel. He said 9/11. So let's get those 7 pages.
And the need to redact. In the case of a victim, that should be pretty obvious to people. What are the other things that maybe you'd have to redact?
Well,
national security?
No, of course. National security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential. But we'll see.
National security. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Let's go back.
Security, some grand jury information, which is always going to.
The other things that maybe you'd have to redact.
Well,
national security.
No, of course, national security. Some.
There's nothing in there. Was he a FBI agent? If he was, and that should be let us know about that. How would there be national security information? How would there possibly be national security information? This bitch, the fact that you should have said here to, first of all, yes, exactly, hard-hitting Fox News questions towards Pam Bondi. I mean, Sean Hannity should not have even mentioned that. There is no national security. What, did he have troop movements? I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing. What did he have that is national security? He have the nuclear codes? Anything else like that? No. What you're saying is, just like you do with Congress and any of these other things, which is, oh, they're diddling kids. We don't want to have blackmail information on these people. So we're going to keep it secret. Yeah, that's ridiculous. There's no national security info at all. And if you say there is, then was he a government employee? Did he steal secrets? No, which just means government officials or people around the government or governments were involved, and you don't want that let out because you're buddies with them. That's just it's disgusting, this commentary. And the fact that Sean Hannity put this question out there, to fucking shield.
Grand jury information, which is always going to be
fine. Grand jury information. Is it always confidential? I don't know.
Confidential, but we'll see. Let's look through them as fast as we can. Get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know, not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on for all.
I'm sorry. When did Martin Luther King die? Trump was president 4 years at some point. Was it before or after Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Epstein was killed? I'm sorry, when? Okay. So it's only Biden's fault that these haven't been released. Why weren't these released the first time under Trump? You can't, the straight face, this lady is a politician
all these
only. She's
years.
Not an attorney.
So yeah, it's really, it's not sad. It's infuriating.
No, it's not infuriating. Why didn't you release this the first time? Why didn't you call this out the first time?
People thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out. And when we redact things, Sean, what we're going to do is not just pull pages out like they used to do. If something's redacted, you will know the line, and you will know why it's redacted. The victim's name, identifying information of a victim.
Okay.
We all.
Okay, let's hope that that's the case. Let's hope that that's the case. Let's go to the chat here a little bit. A source told me, isn't it wild that the AG needs the sources inside our own government to get try and get that info? Yeah, hard-hitting questions. Alan also says, if they have tons of evidence, then regards then regardless of whether it was gonna be released to the public, aren't they fully admitting they are protecting predators because no one else has been charged? Yes, exactly. Respectfully, I find her disingenuous, duplicitous. Exactly, says Hamilton. Vegas and Bama, thanks for joining us. What if the national security info is about Trump? Okay, I don't give a shit. I mean, that's a great question, right? The Vegas and Bama says, what if the national security info is about Trump? I don't care. Oh, so what does that mean? Okay, then maybe you say the Carol chick that said he was a rapist, maybe that just makes her more credible, right? If he's a pedophile. I mean, I don't think Trump is going to be putting these people in. I don't think Trump has anything to worry about with this. He is known for the guy that basically kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. So I don't know, could be. I mean, but you got a good point. But it's not a national security at that point. It's just airing dirty laundry. And so he likes kids. Is that what you're saying? I mean, by the way, best question of the night. I don't know why everyone else didn't pick up a good question like that. Okay, so we talked about this, the FBI guy resigning. We talked about that one. Perfect. So that's Pam Bondi. Let's go to some. How about we answer some questions here? There's been some questions coming up lately. I think we can answer these. But I think I have do I have a mailbag intro? I think I have a mailbag intro. Where's that at? Mailbag intro.
I think Tyler is amazing.
Thanks, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
You've got mail.
Okay, that's the dumbest. That's the dumbest thing I've ever done. But regardless, that's what we have here. Okay, let's go back here a while. There's some. I think we read these already from these other people. We didn't know anything. We've not seen the evidence yet, so let's wait until then. This is the Blake Lively lawsuit. By the way, I was completely wrong, but this is what you do. You read, first of all, and when you read a complaint, you expect, you take into there that everything in there is going to be somewhat factual, and then you apply the law and how that works. The Blake Lively stuff, when you first read it, was her lawsuit, and it wasn't even a lawsuit. It was her filing a complaint to the California, and then, you know, she could do federal, she could do state, she did state, and then you had Justin Baldoni doing a reply, and I think she and her man are complete pieces of shit, and they're going to be taken down. Watch Candace Owens for the details on that. So, you know, I'll give that person a thumbs up. Banana Wama Bama, maybe that's the same person, on the Nick Fuentes Body Cam show episode. We have, not sure if you're aware, but you hit your table mic a lot, and it's very distracting when listening with headphones. Also, I didn't find these police helpful at all. They don't explain things properly or what they really mean when they say, do you want to press charges? Have him arrested, just a report, take him to court. They could always make it much more clear. I'm not going to reply. Than when they, look, they're police. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? They're police officers out there. They're not going to be. PDB isn't a scam artist? What? Calling me shocked. Yeah, he is a scam artist. This person, Mel, said, what do you expect, people? He sells insurance and he's not exactly poor. We also have, look at the company he keeps. Exactly. He just had on the Tate brother, or Andrew Tate, and I didn't listen to it because I try not to listen to Patrick Bet David, but sometimes I'll listen to and I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate either. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But there's some people I like simply for how they make others react, which is I would listen to Tate talk about Israel just to watch Adam, his face melt, and to see how he reacts. Okay, because he's really a loser. Pee pee poo poo. Okay, thanks on that one. Oh wait, thumb down. I don't want to ever hear about Rekieta. So this Buddy, he ended up freaking out here. He's like, I don't want to ever hear about Rekieta. Pseudo Snark said, thanks. I should have done it in Joe's voice. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You suck, Tyler. Thank you. And then Buddy comes back here again and he says, another vid about Rekieta. I'm unsubbed. And he unsubs to the channel, people. Can you think about that? Can you handle that? By the way, if you're new here, just sub to the channel. click on the notifications. We're coming at you on Friday. We're doing stuff. Look back up my stuff, especially my Epstein files things. I think those are some exceptional takes. Take down of the Republican losers. Once again, they think they're alternative media. They're not. They're shills. And then they got used and then they got upset. But then they don't get upset at the people that used them. That is telling because they want access still. Okay, so sorry, C buddy. Fredo talking shit about Dave Smith. Okay. Tulsi Graboid. How do we get Trump to do a random drug test on federal employees? Says Funkle Lester 8646. I don't know. That's a great question. Christo Becker says the Dems are reprimanding the nominees for doing what is right. Cash, Tulsi, RFK Jr. have the best interest at heart, yet their actions are speaking louder than their words. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually true. Once again, I just went through the whole Cash Patel and some of these people. Just because you like the banter and the rhetoric they said before they got into power doesn't mean that they're the greatest. I think this is the Trump problem, right? But, you know, I'm fine with it because it's the federal government and who fucking cares at this point, even though that's going to ruin all of us, which is Trump sees them on TV and they're great communicators and they just burn people all the time. Doesn't mean they're great organizers and team leaders and people that should be in charge in decision making. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. So Cash Patel comes in here in the front of the FBI. Now, Trump's worked with him on a basis before. He might be doing good things. I don't know. I don't know about all these people. Pam Bondi, she seems like a lightweight to me, but she said the right things and and he's friends with her, so she gets going here. So I don't know about that. Pseudo-Snark said, used to be a decent pool player. Just fun. Never a pro or anything like that. I always wanted to land masterful bank shots or kick shots. When I was at my best, I had realized the big secret wasn't slamming power shots. Oh, this is a big one. What is he talking about here? It was executing good technique, consistency, being great at fundamentals. Barnes seems like a guy that wants to talk about how he dropped a shot by 3 banks or kicking off 3 rails one time. Meanwhile, the real sharks aren't doing that. They're just consistently making the high probability shots using consistency and fundamentals. It isn't sexy, but just gets you the W's. You know what? Good point there. Good point. Ralph4131 says, I had a peg for certified genuine grade pro grifter years ago. Talking about Ashley St. Clair. Yes, exactly. I did some good work on that one too. Zinsfer3261 said, well, she hid her pregnancy for Elon. She hid her pregnancy for Elon Musk. She said, who knows if she received prenatal care or not. She now seems to be suffering possibly from postpartum symptoms, and no-show baby daddy wouldn't even sign the birth certificate. Is the most disturbing and distressing. Then he gets on stage, pale as a ghost, in sunglasses, indoors as possible, some sort of substance, having breakdown with a chainsaw waving around. It's most terrifying to watch. I am telling you, the Elon Ashley St. Clair is something to take in, as these people are both degenerates in their personal life. Do not take anything from them as heroes. It's disgusting watching all the right, same ones. By the way, it was very similar. All the same ones that got promoted out there to the White House were all the ones going, oh, congrats, Ashley, on your baby. And it's like, oh, dude, you guys are just all so cringe. Zimford Herd 3261 also said you noticed she didn't mention OBGYN appointments, just that she spent the whole pregnancy alone and couldn't tell anyone because Elon Musk wanted secrecy. She never says why the secrecy. Maybe Elon was paying them to harass Ashley to scare her or keep her in line with his agenda of secrecy. I'm just saying, nothing would surprise me at this time. Well, look, he put his wife Claire through, then Zillis. And whoa, now this other one, Ashley, never promised crazy a baby. Clearly Elon Musk, a womanizer, and now he's just being mean. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with some of that there, but womanizer completely, can afford it completely. Ashley St. Clair, a victim? No, not at all. I'm wondering if any of the other baby mamas knew about Ashley. I don't know. This pee-pee poo-poo again, top lobster retard. Engaged to my grandson Raven. Okay. Oh yeah, I had Top Lobster and Raven on. Thanks everybody for joining in that one. We'll just give these some likes here. Oh my God, love these shorts. Yes, I've been putting out some shorts. Until there's published DNA tests, it's absolutely BS. They're talking about Ashley St. Clair. This person loves animals too. I have a cat, a bird, a huge goldfish. The cat was the only animal that we actually decided to get. I wanted a dog so bad. I kind of want a golden retriever, Nova Scotia duck taller. Or Nova, okay, I don't know what that is. Yeah, we have 4 fucking dogs now. If it was the case, I would immediately refuse paying her a dime and become homeless. If you put me in jail, then so be it. I'm not paying a woman. Some other dude's offspring ain't happening. I don't know exactly what that was about, but you know, we'll talk about family law if you really want to. Let's go to the chat, see what else is happening here. Respectfully, I find her, okay, we said that. Team Baldoni, says Hamilton. I'm with you there. Typically, mandatory drug tests are already in place for federal and top companies. Probably so. Jordan says degenerates. Sure, but they never gave us straight answers about what your standard concubine contract retainer is. 10 grand. That's just a retainer, 10 grand, and then we'll work off of that on an hourly basis. When I'm done, if there's money left over, you get what hasn't been spent. Let's talk about Ian Carroll. What time? It's almost an hour in. We're going to be finishing up here fairly soon. Might be another 30 minutes, just giving you an FYI. But Ian Carroll goes on. It's Ian, 2 R's, 2 L's, Carroll, Ian Carroll Show. He went on Joe Rogan. I think I mentioned at the beginning, I wasn't too impressed with he didn't blow me away because a lot of stuff you kind of know. And then stuff Joe would push back, hey, this and this. And he's like, some of it he knew. And then Joe's insisting on telling him. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of annoying. But he just said he knew. Matter of fact, he said, I read Chaos. Ian Carroll's like, I've read Chaos. Have you read it? And it's like, okay, well, Ian doesn't know that, was it Tom McNeil had been on the show. By the way, they just came out on Netflix today, so that will be an interesting, I'll have to watch. And then Joe Rogan, after Ian had just said, I read the book, have you read it? And Joe's like, yeah, I had Tom McNeil on. And then he tells him about, and it's like, okay, you guys are just talking to each other like you both know the subject. But then there's subjects you don't know, and Ian Carroll didn't know anything about him. But I would say he didn't talk about things as if he knew something he didn't know. So I give him some credit, and I think a lot of the hate that's coming out after him right now is jealousy. Okay, so here, let's just play a quick few little things.
Well, that Joe Rogan interview sure started some fire and some controversy. And
look much better with short hair than that long mop he had on the back.
For good reason. It's a important topic, and it's a complex topic. People have strong feelings. So I'm going to go live on X in about an hour here after I get some breakfast to address criticisms from the internet, to have some fun, to kind of, talk about the various perspectives online, and to share any little tidbits of like things that I forgot to say or didn't say right, or things that I wish I'd said differently, evidence that I didn't get to share at the time. But actually what I'm going to do is Alex Jones invited me to go into the InfoWars studio later and to present the Epstein argument around Israel and Epstein in a more concrete way, which is a great resource because he's got a team of guys that can help to source the evidence quite quickly today to try to put together as much of a dig into the actual Epstein network as possible.
By the way, and I've criticized him for this, and it is annoying, which is, I know you use your phone as your camera and it's always a reverse. It can't mirror. It's annoying. I want to look at your shirt and I want to see why do I have to read things backwards
on such short notice? Because it's so complex that it's hard to put that together all, on one day's notice. So that's a great resource, and it'll be a great studio to kind of like put something together that is really like legit about that today. So we'll be shooting that this afternoon and putting it out tonight. And in the future, I will be making more long form, like actual digs with all the sources and evidence about it that we can get into more depth. But today it's just important to kind of get the conversation rolling and to address the various perspectives online in a genuine and open-minded and open-hearted way. So look out for me live on X later, and then we'll be live from the InfoWars studio later, breaking down the whole Epstein network, Mossad, Israel, as well as all the other connections that are not Israel, because there's a lot going on here. My X stream today will be pretty low-key and informal, and then we'll try to get something more put together for this evening. And then obviously I'll be putting out more stuff to kind of like, further the conversation in the weeks to come. I think the most important thing to remember is that we're all humans, and Joe and I were just having a conversation as just two dudes. And you don't have to start hate or flame wars. You don't have to like hate people because of your internet opinions. You know, if you were in a room with someone, would you start screaming at their face, or would you engage like a normal human in a rational discussion about information? And so that's the angle I'm going to try to stay with, and try to avoid starting fights and starting flame wars, and just, you know, be people, because we're all just people, and it's just truths. And, you know, truth is open to everyone, and we can all see it based on the evidence, and we can have a genuine discussion about it like adults.
That's an intense 5 o'clock shadow. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, so I thought I'd start there. There's a few more things. I'm not going to play the 9 minutes here, but what got interesting to me was people's reactions. Okay, there's let's see here. This person, Polly, someone, she said, he says unreliable, and then she comes back and she's like, Ian Carroll makes it on Rogan. He's played all his cards right, doing the narrative network two-step, sucking up to the right people, wearing his costume, saying within the opinion corridor, faking a hack, etc. No one knows why he got so big so fast. Well, I get that, and I posed this in the chat, not the chat, but it was in the pre-show and behind the scenes to Tower Gang, to Clint. I said, look, Clint, Ian Carroll comes out of the blue. He blows up. He gets put on Rogan. Are you okay? Are you jealous? Are you upset about any of this? How do you think? And he's like, no. Matter of fact, I boosted him. He's like, he's, you know, been on my show because Clint's been wanting to go on Rogan's, right? That's kind of been his goal. He's talked about that since day one. So he's not gone on Rogan, Clint, but Ian Carroll's blown up and he's going on there. So people are like, oh, you know, he's got like 1.2 million followers. And people are like, oh, he came out of nowhere. Yeah, he did come out of nowhere. But I will say this, early on, he was doing stuff about Israel, and some of that, you know, October 7th shit. And he did a good breakdown, and he got featured by Candace Owens. Okay. She played his stuff on her show. And I'm sorry, she's blown up. Is she coming out of nowhere? She's been around since 2015. Daily Wire, high profile firing, and the jealousy of her being successful, and she props people up like him. She propped up Mel, another person that's on there that has done some good stuff. So, I mean, yeah, comes out of nowhere. I get it. You know, there is reason to be skeptical. Jose, the other morning did a whole read about him, about how he's a Fed type of thing, and none of it was sufficient evidence. It was just like, okay, what? I mean, he liked Nicole Shanahan, and I'm like, okay, but she's been Ron Paul and Dr. Paul posting recently. I mean, what do you want? I get it. There's Palantir. There's all these things. Anyway, so this lady comes on here and she's like, anyway, no one knows why he got so big so fast. And he comes back and he talks about stuff, and she goes, and she trashes him the whole way. So she's just, for whatever reason, and some of this is also, I'm going to say here, the Whitney Webbs of the world, which Whitney Webb does some deep dives. Like Ian Carroll comes out and he mentions her on the show. And so she first starts out, I really appreciate the shout out and Ian's kind words about my book, but, and then it's all this. And it's just like, oh, bitch, please. I mean, can you, and then, I'm sorry, but he is so appreciative that then he goes on and he does a video here. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, shit. There we go. So
the author of these two books that I prominently cited a lot in my interview with Joe Rogan just the other day, just gave a really great big response to the whole situation on X that I want to highlight. She corrected some things that I maybe misrepresented and got wrong, which is super appreciated.
Once again, what's up with your hoodie? Is it because you're so tall it doesn't fit there?
And she gave her take on some things that we should all know about, and I should respond just a little bit to. And first, Media 101, it should be obvious that I do not speak for Whitney Webb, and I do not represent Whitney Webb's work. I represent my own work, and I do my best to read other people's work and to learn from it, but Whitney's way smarter than me. Whitney is way smarter than me. I've read this shit 3 times now, and I still have to take notes and look things up because it's so complex, and obviously she's going to know way more about it than me. So in general, I couldn't agree with more with every single thing that she said here, but I'll address a few specific points. First off, she's really kind in how she words it, but I don't take any offense at her correcting me
Okay, so he's gonna suck her tit a little bit there. And by the way, I'm just like, I mean, he went on Rogan and he shouted you out, and this is kind of how she deals with it. And by the way, I looked through her all her replies, all her posts. She never ever comes back at him saying, "Hey, cool," because he's like really conciliatory. Okay, so and obviously he'd used her work. He shouted her out, and then she's kind of autistic. I don't know. There's something wrong with her, and it's the Zelensky stuff, which is yelling at Trump for not giving him more money. And it's like, bitch, he got on Rogan. Now, is it jealousy that she's not on Rogan? She was on Glenn Beck, but she's not on Rogan. Maybe that's the problem. And I think that's some of it. I know I've had Steve, what's his name, Poikkinen on, and he just hates Ian Carroll. And you can hate him all you want, but stop making it look like you're jealous, because the jealousy part doesn't do you well. So we come to the next issue here. Well, listen, Clint is deep in the kratom right now trying to cope. Yeah, actually, right. I thought Ian Carroll blew up promoting small company hair products. It could be. Look, I don't know. I don't know exactly. And it's very fine to